Here we are on Sister MorningStar's land. My name is Carrie Michelle. I am also Sister MorningStar's media guru. I help her with her online social media website. And now we have an amazing MorningStar community online that has recently launched. While I am in the wonderful beauty of Sister MorningStar, I wanted to take a moment to have a conversation around instinctual living and whatever else comes through. I would love for you to just introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm Sister Morningstar. I have actually many names. Sometimes now I feel more like Mother Morningstar. I'm sister to people that are my peers, but yeah, more and more next generation and next generation. So um, let's see. I live on in the woods of Missouri in a little cottage, kind of off the grid. People think, oh, it's not really off the grid until they come and they try to make a phone call with their cell phones and then it won't work. So I'm like, okay, now you know. So that's where I live. I travel the world. I love the world's people. I probably love you. Uh, if I know you, I know I love you. And I love culture and I love preserving the ancient feminine wisdom ways. I love women's circles. And my goodness, I love my land, planting and gardens and knitting. And uh, I actually love Vedic chanting. So many things, right? Just like you, a world within my life. And right now, I'm having so much fun with Carrie, my beloved media guru. And because of technology, actually, most of my whole life, we've always gathered in the woods and had direct experience. And there's nothing better, there's nothing more valuable than being with one another, right? And direct experience with women's circles and around the fire circle and in the creek and making ritual and all the things that we do. And I travel internationally. So I've done this around the world. And in fact, this summer I'm going to be teaching in Portugal and going on the Camino walk. And so much in my life, just like so much in your life. But we're putting together some things that make it possible for people who cannot come to my land. And I cannot be with them for many reasons directly. Then this magic of this new world is bringing us together, just like we're together now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those who are wanting to live like in a more wholesome, natural, instinctual way, what is something you think that we could do? Something simple.
Mm. Well, the simple answer is nature, of course. Getting out in nature, because nature or plants or animals being around. And of course, if you have babies, like if you're not interrupting them too much. But I was just thinking of you mentioning things about me, and I often hear that. And I'm happy. I love to be in relationship with people, but being inspired by someone, and I have amazing mentors like that I cherish so very much, my mentors. But actually, like they say, it's the desire in the heart of someone that really allows us to accomplish something. So I'm a big believer in role modeling and having wise elders. Our world needs wise elders. All of these things, the old forest, yeah, the new growth needs the old forest, right? So important. But the old forest cannot really give life, energy to grow of the seedling. That energy comes from inside the seedling. And so I bow to you, and I bow to you, because if we are inspired by someone or something, that's marvelous. But then we have to take it and do something with it.
Right.
So instinctual living, I agree that it is the thing that can keep our foot on a good path, like moving forward. And if we can move forward individually, then of course we can be a part of a collective that's moving forward.
Right.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes.
I
thank
love
you.
instinctual living. I live out in the woods.
Yep, you do. Your little cottage in the woods. I'm going to backtrack a little and just, I guess, paint more of a picture around. I first met Sister MorningStar when I was pregnant with my first child, Nova. I wanted to do an unassisted free birth, and I ended up transferring to the hospital, had a cesarean, and it kind of just really rocked my soul and my spirit. And yeah, I worked with her after on doing soul sessions with her, and we've formed like an amazing connection together. And I also knew that I wanted to have another child. I wanted to be able to birth in my own, through my own instincts and power. And I had realized since having Nova that, oh, I definitely wasn't living my life through my instincts or following my intuition. And so fast forward like a year later, Nova's a year, I get pregnant again with my second. So I really dove in deep, doing deep work around healing this instinctual part of myself that I didn't follow before. And Sister Morningstar was really a catalyst to the development of all that. And I ended up birthing my second baby at home, just how I wanted to. No one like in authority over me, telling me what to do, checking me. And I was able to just manage my own self and have the guidance of the women I chose. So that was really soul saving.
So powerful.
Yeah.
And just so exciting.
Yes.
To see that unfold.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
To me, may I comment about that? To me, watching Carrie retrieve her soul, when she birthed her daughter, second baby was a daughter, I was thinking the whole pregnancy, if you do this, and when you do this, and as you do this, she's rebirthing her tribe because she also was born by knife. Is that right? Mm-hmm. If I mentioned that. So she was born by knife. Then her first child born by knife. And so to birth her daughter, she was rebirthing her tribe. And because it's a daughter, then that daughter now, she has a whole different potential, right? Mm-hmm. Than you had. Yes. So what a big gift you gave to your people.
Yeah. And thank you to you, because without your guidance, I don't know what would have happened. So going back a little more, yeah, I was able to build my instincts to be able to even birth that way. And that's what I'm sure it's very complex, but I feel like that's a big part of what I was missing, is not following my inclinations and instincts. And so that's what I'm just so curious to dive deeper in conversation with you about, and just how big birthing and what it takes to just live an instinctual life.
Yes. Okay. So not everybody births a baby, right? Mm-hmm. And we still need instinctual life. Or maybe we've already birthed babies and it's like, well, no, I don't have a chance to do that again. It is what it is. And we still need an instinctual life. So what's amazing to me with women is often the instinct injured women, or women with a nature deficit disorder, we call it, they don't know it. Like they wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'm instinct injured. Like they don't recognize it. It's hard to know what we don't have, the power we don't have, or the instinct we don't have if we don't have it. Like, right? So that's the first thing that I often notice, is that it takes really noticing, oh wow, I'm concerned about what other people think, how other people would feel about it. We raise, especially girls, in this culture and societal way to be concerned, like how you're affecting other people. And it sounds polite, it sounds lovely, it's disasterful, it's tragic when it comes to like, now I need to get a watermelon out of my lemon and I'm worried about how that's gonna, affect you. And it's like, mercy, right? And so we can't go there when we're just growing the baby or gestating something. I mean, we all gestate many things. I'm a crone now and I'm still gestating. and growing many things. So we can't really, thank you for helping me.
Yep.
We can't grow what's ours to grow and then actually like birth it if we're all concerned about how it's going to like affect and be uh, be affirmed or disaffirmed by the external world, which has nothing to do with not caring about other people. Has absolutely nothing to do with that. And of course, we talk about instincts sometimes. It's biological. An instinct is in our bodies and it's in the now. So, for example, if I'm in labor or if I'm pregnant, whatever, I'm growing my idea and I share it with someone and they're like uncomfortable with it in whatever way, physically, financially, emotionally, they're uncomfortable with it. Okay, right away, my instinct is going to tell me something. Now I'm either comfortable or not comfortable with them, or I'm going to tell them more about it, or I'm going to become reactionary and like defensive and angry and like start to give them all kinds of data. We're very informed peoples these days with intellects and we and so we override our intelligence. So intellect is not intelligence, and intelligence is deep and old and right there. And our intelligence tells us right away, I really don't want to talk about this anymore with that person because this is my baby, this is my thing, this is the, and if it's a flesh baby, if it's in our womb, like we've got to birth it. Like there's no getting out of that. Like you're going to birth one way or another. And so now my energy went down, my confidence went down, my my dream, my ideal, my vision, it went down. And so if I say, "Oh, thank you so much for, talking with me or staying with me or being my midwife." Oh yeah, okay, if you would be more comfortable having pit in your back pocket when I don't want to use it, but that would make you more comfortable. And I really want you to be with me. And it could be a partner, it can be, but already now I've given more power outside of me. And maybe it'll work out. Good luck to you. But something won't work out because already I overrode my own instinct. And maybe that was information. Maybe it was something that's going to build my instinct. It's like, really? I never thought of that. Okay. Well, now if we're in dialogue and we're just exchanging information, my instinct might grow because I'm not threatened. I'm not overpowered. I'm now in a field of potential and curiosity. But nobody else outside of us can know if that's true or not true. Like, did I just lose some of my power or did I just step onto some fertile soil that's going to grow some of my power? Only we know that. So for me, for example, if somebody they have a breech baby, I don't want to only talk about babies, but it is, women and wombs are my bag. So there's a lot about like they're gonna have a breech and they're like, "Sister, do you think I can do it?" I'm like, "Well, I know you can, but what good that is that gonna do us in the moment? Like, you've got to know you can. Me knowing you can won't help us. And if you don't know you can, or if you don't feel like you can, okay, is that where you want it to stay? Is that where you want it to move? Like, what's your instinct? So I have women that I've helped that have like 20 babies, 12 babies, 18 babies, and they just have their babies, have their babies, have their babies. And all of a sudden there'll be one pregnancy and they'll be like, "Sister, usually the first few babies were together. And then after that, they're like, I've got it, we've got it, having our babies." And then all of a sudden it's like, this one's different. Something's different. Let's make a different plan. That's their instinct, not mine. I already think they can birth babies, right? They've got their own instinct that tells them something's different this time. So it's so powerful to have our own instinct. And if we're young and a maiden, we could even have a crone's body and a maiden's emotion. Like we didn't emotionally mature, like we missed some of those steps. okay, well, we're not dead yet. Hi out there, all of us crones, maybe we missed some steps, but we're not dead yet. We can start right where we are to like find out, um, you know, can can I walk outside and it takes being outside, it takes nature. I was going to say squat and pee. Okay, that's what I was going to say. And I just heard my very best friend's voice in my head saying, "Now, Sammy, if I squat down, who's going to help me up?" Okay, so start when you're young. All
Yes.
right. Yeah,
Yes.
some of us get older and we can't do certain things outside, but okay, I've been talking a
Yeah.
lot. Thank you all.
So I'm curious, like, do you think that where does the injury or wounding around our instincts originate?
Mm.
Do you think it starts at birth, or can it get injured along the way?
Yeah, these are very good questions because the instinct, of course, at birth is the beginning of everything else, obviously, even in the womb, beginning of everything else. So, yes, a little new creature first emerging and looking into the world, her instincts are right there for her. So, how she experiences happiness or ease after difficulty. So, birth is not easy for baby.
Right.
It's not easy for mother, but it's not easy for baby. And so she's been through I'm saying she because I'm assuming female until I'm proven wrong, but she's come through something very challenging. And then there she is. And our blueprint for happiness is that the loving mother, the arms of the mother, the voice of the mother, the familiar imprinting of the mother is meant to be right there and reassuring. Like my firstborn daughter, when she gave birth to, her second child, a shoulder dystocia, and was a serious one, and baby gets out, and she's just mad and screaming and so upset. That's her personality. Like I didn't like that, and my daughter said to her, there, my little sequoia, and now you know if you're in a tight place, if you're in a difficult spot, you're going to get through, you're going to make it. So her soothing words, of course, baby doesn't know the meaning of those words, but that voice and not scared, not panicked, not powerless, not sad, like, oh my God, are you okay? No, like you made it. And so that imprinting, yeah, it is very much right from birth. But also, a child can have, a good instinctual, natural beginning of life, and then diapering and putting them in the car seat, and all these places can be according to their personality, and then the will and way and lifestyle of the mother. It can come into big collision and clash. And then their instincts are working for them because they're little creatures. So it could start to get injured by repeated violation, repeated disrespect. Could be something acute, something that really scares or hurts us, but usually not. We have a capacity. Humans have huge capacity to integrate and overcome. That's also our instinct. We can overcome a lot. We do not have to have a perfect mother. From the dawn of time, who had a perfect mother? We don't need a perfect mother. We're resilient and we can overcome so much, but we cannot overcome a repeated violation and disrespect and disregard for what we're trying to say. I'm cold. I'm hungry. I'm scared.
I have two questions kind of ruminating. So let's say that someone who's watching is like, oh, I wasn't able to hold my baby after birth, or it was really traumatic, or whatever the case, they might have felt like, oh, that first like instinctual imprint got broken. What are the ways that maybe mother can help repair? Do you think it's just as simple as putting a child in nature, or
No, because it's a little tiny baby, so it can't. So these are very good questions. And actually, this mother, if she's you're very fortunate because already you're very alert and you're aware, wow, I think my baby missed something. So a lot of women, it's like instinct injured women, they don't recognize it. So a lot of women, they don't recognize or think about what that baby actually went through. But so you're very fortunate and blessed, mother, if you have this child that you know, oh my goodness, none of this is ideal or went how we wished. So the two or three things that are so easy to start to reclaim that, as well as the bond, the relationship bond that the baby was counting on. It was umbilically connected and gets outside, of course, still meant to have its umbilical cord for a long time, but that's another teaching and story. But it's meant to then be in arms. So just carrying the baby, wearing the baby, so that the baby's heart, as soon as you can, like if they're in ICU, of course, in ICU, these things can get delayed, but skin to skin, and not just anybody wearing the baby, like mother's heartbeat, that's the heartbeat that the baby's heartbeat synchronized to in the womb, and it'll reestablish. And walking outside, like wearing the baby but walking outside, letting the baby's eyes actually see leaves, or nature has spirals. There are patterns, geometric, cosmic geometry, and it's everywhere in nature. Even in a park in the city, it's still, there's a tree or a leaf, and letting the baby's eyes rest upon these things that are part of its cosmic nature. It came from the stars. And so it's looking for these shapes and symbols, and then hearing the wind or hearing the thunder. If you're fortunate enough to have rain and thunder, don't worry if the baby cries. If it's been had a difficult birth, it has a right to cry. Maybe it has that personality. Let it release those cries. Not alone, but you're carrying her. Or I'm just saying, don't be worried. We're resilient creatures. But so being able to hear and to see and smell, like you can take colostrum and breast milk and put it on the upper lip. If they're nursing, then often it is. If you are not able to nurse for whatever reason, I deeply respect you, then getting somebody else's colostrum, some milk, so that the smell is what that baby biology was looking for, that smell. So sight and sound and hearing and touch and smell, and you can start to rebuild those instincts in a healthy way.
And that also rebuilds the connection to you and baby.
Yes.
If that bond was perhaps broken at birth.
Maybe not just rebuild, but heal.
Yeah.
So, just carrying and wearing the baby. Of course, I'm also a big believer in water, because the baby was in water. And so getting baby back into water, maybe you need to get back in the water with your baby, but back into the water. Or if you're fortunate enough to be in the tropical lands, then walking under a waterfall or being in the waters, that's so healing.
Mm-hmm.
Letting their movements in the water are going to mimic their movements that were in the womb. All of these things, you don't have to plan to make it happen. Nature will make it happen.
I know you said you don't want to talk about just babies, so I'm wondering, if we're to be very instinctual throughout our life, how would that affect death? Or if we aren't instinctual, how do these outcomes come? I want to move kind of into those two portals, like birth and death.
I love that. That's true. So it is true. That's a portal door, and we were just talking so much about the portal door and then a life coming in. Okay, great. We got that life in. Okay, if we're here, we got to figure out how to get ourselves out of here, right? We got ourselves here somehow or other, and now we have to figure out how we can get out of here. And actually, one of my vows, my sixth vow, had to do with service and preserving sacred birth. And this last year, I walked the final journey with my mother as she walked on. And it was interesting with my dear and beloved Carrie, because it was the same year that she was doing this journey she was telling you about, where she brought forth her daughter. So first birth in power. That same year, I was walking with my mother, going through the portal door to depart from this world. And so I added to my vows, like preserving sacred first and last breaths, because sacred, um, sacred, sacredly and instinctually getting through the portal door is even harder. So it's amazing. It's not that easy in the modern world. It's like swimming against the current in the modern world to get our babies here without interventions, without drugs, without knife, without testings and all that stuff. It's a lot. It's hard to do. But at least there's more and more of those babies that are actually coming through. The statistics are even dropping so hard and fast for people departing this world without interventions, without, or we could just even say at home. Luckily, there's this new hospice care, but often even that is still very medicalized, just like many of our home births have become kind of medicalized, if you know what I mean. No disrespect to the home birth midwives and their great work and all the birth keepers and birth companions, but still that patriarchal, insidious powering over has entered into our homes, both for the portal door of entry, like birth, and also for departing. And so, how to instinctually even begin to, like, how am I going to prepare myself to take my last breath?
Can you have an instinctual death?
Yes,
Okay.
I just got to watch it, with my mother, but it's so rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, so rare. And we inhale to take our first breath, and then we exhale to take our last breath. And then in between, we do a lot of breathing, right? And hopefully many other things. But when I think my sisters and I, and we're the ones that were committed to being with my mother, especially the last 3 years, we marveled at, like, wow, I think she's going to do this. It takes a miracle. I mean, you could get hit by a train. You can drown in the sea. You can, like, birth is even a little bit more predictable. It's like 9 months maybe, or 10 moons or whatever. But pretty much it's like, oh, about right in there. And maybe it's birth by knife, or maybe it's birth by yoni, but whatever. Like, it's just a few options. But death, like how we get out of here, it's a marvel, isn't it? Think about your own family, like all the different ways people in your family. I mean, of course, I know hundreds, thousands of ways people have died. And yeah, so to actually die in your own home, in your own bed, with your own flannel sheets if it's winter, with your beautiful daughters around you, with all the sights and sounds of nature that you have had your whole life. This is a huge miracle.
Yeah.
So, and then even with all that support and help, it's a little bit like birth. Everything can be helpful, but you still got to do it, right? And so, watching Mother, it was just awe-inspiring to watch her working with her body, working with her mind, working with her focus, working with all, who knows, like in labor, a woman enters a certain stage and she cannot talk. It's only an internal world that she's living. And maybe later she can tell you about it. And sometimes later she can't. She's like, I don't have the words to describe what was happening to me. And certainly with last breaths, well, they can't come back and tell us, this is what I was thinking. So the 2 or 3 things that I noticed with my grandmother, who also chose her place in time of death, and my mother, not suicide, but is that in their life of instinctual living, of course, definitely nature, we live in nature, but they didn't overreact to things that their bodies were doing. So I remember even in the last few years, here's an example. Uh, Mother would maybe she's older, so like her skin thinner and this and that, and she survived so much. She was born weighing 3 pounds. Okay, she's a big fighter and survivor, a Scorpio, as you might guess. But she would like get a bruise or hurt her thumb, and she would just talk to it. Well, now there, little thumb, how are you doing? Okay, oh, a little bit. Let's move a little bit that way. Oh, okay, well, let's move a little bit this way. You can do it. You can do it. Keep working it. Keep working it. She would just like talk to her body. And my grandmother, she did this too, of course. And she would work her feet and always like moving and then if something and so now I'll just say for myself, going through menopause, for example, your heart can have palpitations. It's not just hot flashes or this or that. And many people, they're afraid of what their body's telling them. Well, it happens in birth too. Here we are back talking about birth. But they get uncomfortable and scared. And so instead of scared, either curious or a calm mind and patience to see, what does this mean? Because once it's time to take your last breath, if all you're going to do is hit 911, then they're going to do all that they do. So we can think, oh, I want to die peacefully in my home. But almost everyone gets scared. And they're like, well, but not today. Not today. I don't want to die today in my home, in my bed.
Right, right.
Right? Even if you're 95, this can happen. If you're not 95, you think, oh, if I'm 95. But then when you're 95, maybe not today. So I just noticed, can we stay curious with our bodies? I'm not telling you not to go to the doctor. You should use your own instinct. That's your responsibility. But I'm just saying, begin to notice and slow your breath down and live instinctually. Yeah, I don't know. And I have another beautiful story. I had a friend, and she said she had two aunts that always knelt at their bed at night and made prayers. And she thought, oh, they're praying for us. And she found out later that both of her aunts were praying, may I die peacefully in my sleep. And they both did. And she said, after that, I kneel at the foot of my bed and I pray. Of course, I pray for my family. May they be well and protected, but may I die peacefully in my sleep. So it could be that visioning, just like with birth.
I never even thought about instinctual instinctual death until this conversation, actually. But yeah, I always have that prayer too. Like I want to die with my children surrounding me in my home, in my bed.
Well, everyone does. Everyone wants to die this way. Right. So Harvard recently did another research. They do this often, and they ask people who are doctors and in hospitals and dealing with oncology and death and dying. If it was your turn, would you do you want for yourself what you do for others? And 100% said no. So, in other words, do you want life-saving attempts for your life? Like that's what we do, we try to save people's lives. Yeah. So everybody wants to die at home in their own bed, but hardly anybody does it. I want to mention something else. Maybe you saw me knitting. This is a grieving shawl. So in my Wild Woman group, we each kind of sometimes take a turn and make a row, because no matter how we die, we can be happy that our mothers died at home with their daughters all around them. But still, it leaves us grieving. Death often leaves us grieving. And because it's very seldom that it's just so beautiful and perfect way. So what can we do also during when we're between the portal doors? We've been born, we're not dead yet, and maybe we're not sitting bedside with someone. We can start to knit a grieving shawl so that when someone is in that grieving state, they have the sisterhood wrapped around them while they're. So we knit a lot of these and then we share them. I mean, if someone has lost someone dear to them, then we have another grieving shawl to share. During their period of time of integration, then they have the warmth and the love, because we need each other in these journeys. And I wanted to also share this one other thing. So we have our burial grounds. We have land here. It's not public, not open to everybody, but so this is a shroud that we're making. So sometimes when we gather, we add a little something more, because we know that not only must life come, but life must go. And so we're working on this shroud, because when it comes time and it's time to bury someone, we've been putting bells on the corners and, for weighted, because the shroud will wrap the dead before we bury them. And I was going to show you just different inspirations by different women. Somebody made a little spiral on this corner, and another corner has like moon and stars.
So you'll wrap them in this?
Yes.
Aww.
And we have a baby one, because not all babies make it either. But so, we use shrouds instead of boxes and this and that.
I think it's better.
Yeah. And it has our love and energy in it. So for the living and for the dead and each other, we have each other.
Yeah. You live your life so differently than the average person. This is why I'm so inspired. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to be buried in a box. I'd rather just be buried in a cloth in the ground.
We actually have one of the sisters in our group. She's actually working on her own shroud. Isn't it interesting? Like, this one is for whoever will need it next, that maybe suddenly and they don't have something. But it's interesting. And she said she thought that it would make her sad to work on her shroud. But she said, actually, and it's done when it's done. Like, she can work on it the rest of her days. It's interesting, isn't it? Like making baby blanket, only
for your your corpse.
Yes.
So
thank you for listening.
Yeah, those are some seeds that are planted to think about how you might plan to cross over and what that might look like. I'm interested in all things instinctual.
A death, what do we call them? A birth plan and death plan. We often don't think about this, but a death plan and a birth team and a death team. And just like our birth teams in Carrie's situation, for example, it changed. Like, she had to change her birth team in order to stay instinctual and birth her baby, right?
Yes.
And that can happen with a death team. Like, you created a death team. It's like, okay, but now I outlived my death team. Oh dear, I have to create another death team.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah, I really built my instincts from Nova to Naya through just trusting that initial feeling in my body. But that wasn't easy for me, because if you would have asked me before I had Nova, I would have said, oh yeah, I'm very instinctual. I'm very primal. I'm like really connected to myself. Like, I wouldn't have thought I was not instinctual, but Nova's birth really exposed that of me, and working with her also has shined some light on my shadow parts, and also she's helped me heal those parts as well. So
because we can be very instinctual in some areas.
Yes.
Right? We're not instinct wounded completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was it was a blind spot for you.
Yep. Yeah. Not as much anymore. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
Then at that time.
Yeah. So with Naya, I stayed in nature a lot. I gardened more than I ever have, and I really haven't since. But just being more connected to the land and going on hikes, and towards the end of my labor, just acting like an animal in the wild and peeing outside, and just being with the elements. And I also did cold plunges in the river a lot throughout my pregnancy, that I really think helped me prepare. And I also was very motivated from having that broken dream birth with Nova to birthing Empower, it was soul dependent for me. Like I knew it would really crush my spirit if I didn't birth that way. Others might not feel the same, but for me,
I wonder if we feel that way with our death.
right.
I mean, when we get to the other side, I mean, we don't know. You knew that that crushed my spirit and it motivated you.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about anything. Reincarnation, I'm not offending anyone, but I mean, it's interesting. What if how we die matters to us? Not just matters, but like matters to us.
Yeah. It matters to me. And even just having this enlightening conversation, now I'm like, oh, well, I definitely want to have an instinctual death now.
And so there's only one way to even give it potential, and that is live instinctually.
Yep.
All along the way.
Yeah. So let's end with you sharing. You can share whatever you want. Let's end the conversation this way about instinctual living.
Thank you for listening this long, wherever you are. We love you so much. Oh, how to end with something instinctual. Well, maybe the best ending of instinctual is to give you a glimpse into what comes next. So after this, our plan is Carrie and I I've been doing some controlled burns on my land, and we're getting ready to go out and hopefully film another little burn on my land and talk about good seed and bad seed, and tending the soil and tending the soul, and how to tend the soul of our own selves. Wouldn't that be interesting? So maybe that's what I'll leave you with, is that question: how are you tending the soil of your soul?
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you and to just be in your presence and take in all this wisdom. I hope to do my best with it and follow my authentic path. And if this conversation brought up some questions around instinctual living, instinctual birth, we are in the creation of making an instinctual living course with all things honoring women, all the cycles of women's life. So stay tuned for that. That will be announcing here in the next few months. And we hope to hear more from you.